Australia's forests are full of beauty, but some hide dark and chilling secrets. From ghostly figures in the trees to voices that lead people off the path, these are not just legends, they're real experiences. In this video, we'll take you deep into the 10 most haunted forests in Australia, where the line between nature and the supernatural disappears. If you thought forests were peaceful, think again. If you enjoy creepy true stories, help us grow by becoming one of our first 100 subscribers. Your support means the world and unlocks even more terrifying tales. Hit that subscribe button and be part of the first 100 legends of this haunted journey. Story number 1. Belanglo State Forest. New South Wales. Belanglo State Forest is one of the most feared places in Australia. Located in New South Wales, it looks like a normal, quiet forest during the day. But many people say that something dark lives among the trees. The forest became famous in the 1990s after a series of terrible crimes were discovered. A man named Ivan Millet, known as the Backpacker Killer, murdered 7 young travelers and buried their bodies in the forest. These real-life crimes left a deep scar on the area and made it known for death and horror. Even after Ivan Millet was caught, people continued to report strange things happening in the forest. Campers have said they felt like they were being watched. Some even heard footsteps behind them, though no one was there. Others say they heard whispering voices coming from the trees. At night, the forest feels cold and heavy, as if it holds on to the pain of the past. Several ghost stories have come out of Belanglo over the years. Some visitors claim to have seen the ghostly figures of backpackers walking through the trees, looking lost and confused. One man who went camping with his friends said he woke up in the middle of the night and saw a pale girl standing near his tent. She didn't speak, and when he turned on his flashlight, she vanished. He packed his things and left that same night. Another story involves a group of teens who went there to explore. They followed a path deeper into the forest and found a strange wooden cross stuck in the ground. As they stood around it, one of them suddenly collapsed and said he felt like something was pressing on his chest. When they carried him out, he said he had seen a shadowy man standing behind the trees, pointing at him. Locals say it's not just the memory of the murders that haunt the place, it's the energy left behind. Some believe the spirits of the victims still wander the forest, unable to move on. Others think the violence that happened there opened a door to something evil. Many people avoid the forest after dark, even those who live nearby, even though it's open to the public, and some still go there for hiking or motorbiking. Belanglo State Forest is not just another stretch of bushland. It's a place where the real and the supernatural seem to mix. The silence between the trees feels too quiet, and the shadows seem to move when you're not looking. Some people come back with stories. Others never speak about their visit at all. Story number 2. Devil's Pool. Babinda Boulders, Queensland. Devil's Pool is a beautiful but dangerous place near Babinda in Queensland, Australia. It's a natural swimming hole surrounded by large rocks and deep, clear water. Tourists often come to see it, but the area has a dark past filled with death and ghost stories. The pool is part of a sacred Aboriginal site, and the local people have long warned others to stay away from it. They believe the place is cursed. The legend speaks of a woman named Ulana from the Yidinji tribe. She fell in love with a man from another tribe, which was forbidden. When the elders found out, they separated the couple. Heartbroken and angry, Ulana jumped into the water and disappeared. According to the story, her spirit still waits in the pool, crying out for her lost lover and pulling others into the water to join her. The Aboriginal people say this is why so many people have drowned there over the years. More than 20 people, mostly young men, have died at Devil's Pool. Some were experienced swimmers. Many drowned in calm water, often while others watched and couldn't help. Rescuers say some victims were pulled under by a strange force, as if invisible hands grabbed them. Even divers have had trouble swimming there. They say the water changes quickly, with sudden currents and slippery rocks that can trap your feet. Some visitors say they felt a cold chill before entering the water, or felt something brushing against their legs, even when no one else was nearby. One woman said her boyfriend was standing near the edge when he suddenly slipped and fell, and she said he looked shocked, like something had grabbed him. His body was found days later, stuck between rocks. She still believes he didn't just fall, he was pulled. Others have reported hearing whispers or a soft voice calling their name near the pool. One man, who survived falling in, said he felt like he was being dragged down. He fought to swim up, but the water felt thick, almost like hands were pulling him lower. When he finally got out, he said he couldn't stop crying and didn't know why. Even the warning signs around the area don't stop people from going near. Some think they'll be fine if they're careful, but locals say the pool doesn't care how strong you are. If it wants you, it will take you. Rangers and Aboriginal elders continue to warn people about the danger, but the deaths haven't stopped. Devil's Pool may look peaceful and beautiful, but the stories and real deaths have made it one of the most haunted places in Australia. Some say the ghost of Ulana still cries out at night, her sorrow filling the air. Others just feel a deep sadness when they visit. Either way, many believe the pool is more than just water. It's a place where spirits never rest. Story number 3. Picton Ghost Tunnel, Red Bank Range Tunnel, New South Wales. The Picton Ghost Tunnel, also known as the Red Bank Range Tunnel, is one of the most haunted places in New South Wales, Australia. It's an old railway tunnel built in the 1800s, no longer in use. The tunnel is long, dark, and damp, surrounded by thick bushland near the town of Picton. During the day it looks quiet and abandoned, but many people say strange things happen there, especially at night. One of the most famous ghost stories connected to the tunnel is about a girl named Emily Bollock. In the 1910s, she was walking through the tunnel and was struck by a train. Her body was found badly hurt near the tracks. Since then, people have reported seeing a glowing figure or a girl in white walking through the tunnel. Some say they heard a scream or a woman crying. Others say their flashlights or cameras stopped working as they entered the tunnel. Local ghost hunters and curious visitors often go there at night. Some come back with terrifying stories. One man said he walked halfway into the tunnel and felt like someone was following him. He turned around, but no one was there. Then he heard footsteps, soft at first, then louder, as if someone was running at him. He ran out in fear, but when he looked back, the tunnel was completely silent again. Another group of teenagers went inside the tunnel with their phones to record videos. One of the girls started acting strange. She froze and stared at the darkness, then began crying. She said she felt cold hands on her shoulders. The group left quickly. Later, when they watched the video, they claimed to see a faint face behind her in the shadows. There are also stories of people feeling sudden cold spots, even on warm days. Some say they were pushed or touched by invisible hands. Others have heard whispers or strange breathing sounds, though the tunnel is empty. Paranormal groups have used tools to detect energy changes, and some say the place is full of unexplained activity. Local people are divided. Some believe the stories, while others say it's just old stories mixed with fear and imagination. Still, many avoid going there after dark. The place has a strong, eerie feeling, even if you don't believe in ghosts. Over time, the tunnel has become a spot for thrill seekers, but it also holds a sad past. The death of Emily and the many reports of ghostly encounters make it more than just an old tunnel. Some believe the spirits are still trapped there, replaying their final moments. Whether or not you believe in ghosts, standing in the cold silence of the tunnel can make anyone feel uneasy, like you're not alone. Story number 4. Swan Reach Forest. South Australia. Swan Reach Forest in South Australia is not very well known, but people who live nearby say it is one of the most haunted forests in the country. It sits close to the small town of Swan Reach near the Murray River. The forest looks peaceful from a distance, but locals have whispered about strange things happening there for many years. Some say it's the site of old tragedies, and others believe dark spirits live deep in the trees. There is one story that many locals know well. A long time ago, in the early 1900s, a family lived on the edge of the forest. The father worked as a woodcutter and often went into the trees alone. One day he didn't come home. His wife and children searched for him, but they only found his axe and boot near a pile of fresh-cut logs. His body was never found. After that, people began hearing strange noises in the forest, heavy footsteps, a man shouting for help, and sometimes a loud crash, like trees falling even when nothing had moved. As time passed, more people reported strange events. Campers who stayed overnight said they heard voices outside their tents. Some even saw a tall, shadowy figure standing still among the trees, watching them without moving. One man said he heard a whisper in his ear while walking, even though no one was near him. He left the forest and never returned. There is also a story about a young woman who disappeared while walking her dog along a forest trail. Her dog returned alone, barking wildly. The woman was never seen again. A search team went looking for her, but they found nothing except her scarf tied high in a tree far out of reach. People believe the forest took her, just like it took the woodcutter long ago. Many say that electronics stopped working deep in the forest. Phones lose signal, flashlights flicker, and GPS maps become confused. One group of hikers said they walked in circles for hours, even though they were sure they were following the right trail. They felt watched the whole time and became scared, enough to leave before dark. Some people believe the forest is cursed or holds old energy from people who died there. Others think something unnatural lives in the woods. The trees grow close together, and the deeper you go, the quieter it gets, too quiet, as if the forest is holding its breath. Even animals seem to avoid the center of the forest. Today, most locals stay away from Swan Reach Forest, especially at night. Visitors still come out of curiosity, but many leave with strange stories or refuse to talk about their experience. The forest may look calm, but something in the shadows makes we feel deeply unsettled, whether it's ghosts, lost souls, or something else. Swan Reach has a darkness that no one can truly explain. Story number 5. Wayan State Conservation Area. New South Wales. Wayan State Conservation Area is a quiet forest in New South Wales, near the Nightcap National Park. It's known for its waterfalls, walking tracks, and peaceful views. But behind the beauty, there are strange and frightening stories told by locals, hikers, and campers. Some believe the forest is haunted by old spirits, and a few visitors have had experiences they still can't explain. The area is rich in Aboriginal history. The Bundjalung people lived in and around the forest for thousands of years. They respected the land and believed certain places within the forest were sacred. Some elders say the spirits of ancestors still protect those places, and if someone disrespects the land, strange things can happen, even today. Some Aboriginal people warn visitors not to enter the forest at night. One well-known story comes from a man who went camping with friends near Minion Falls, which is inside the conservation area. They set up their tents before dark and sat around a fire, enjoying the quiet. But around midnight they heard a loud scream echo through the trees. It didn't sound like an animal or a person, it was something in between. They searched with flashlights but found nothing. Later, they heard footsteps circling their tent, though no one was outside. Another hiker who went alone on a trail reported hearing whispering voices in the trees. At first he thought it was other people nearby, but as he walked further, the voices got louder and he couldn't understand what they were saying. Then, his phone shut off by itself and his GPS stopped working. He managed to get out of the forest before dark, but he said he felt like he was being watched the entire time. There are also stories of strange figures seen near the waterfall stall, pale shapes that vanish when looked at directly. One woman said she saw a figure standing in the mist by the water. It didn't move or make a sound. She looked away for a second, and when she looked back, it was gone. She left immediately and later said the forest felt heavy, as if something he didn't want her there. Even park rangers have had odd experiences. One ranger reported finding fresh footprints deep in the forest early in the morning, even though the gates had been locked all night. Another ranger said he often hears soft singing, like a lullaby, while doing rounds at dusk, but no one has ever found nearby. Wayan looks peaceful, but many believe something else lives among the trees. Whether it's ancient spirits, lost souls, or something unknown, people who go deep into the forest often come back changed. Some return with fear in their eyes. Others refuse to talk about what they saw or heard. The beauty of the place hides a mystery that no one has ever truly solved. Story number 6. Otway Forest. Victoria. Otway Forest, located in Victoria, is a large and beautiful area full of tall trees, winding trails, and misty valleys. It's a popular place for tourists who want to see waterfalls or take long hikes. But some visitors say that something strange and dark hides behind the beauty. For years, people have reported ghostly sightings and unexplained events deep within the forest. One of the most well-known ghost stories from Otway Forest is connected to a woman known as the Lady in White. She is said to appear on the side of the road late at night, wearing an old-fashioned white dress. Drivers passing through the forest at night have claimed to see her suddenly standing in the middle of the road. When they stop to check or look back, she is gone. Some say she was a bride who died in a car crash many years ago while driving through the forest to her wedding. Others believe she was a lost traveler who never made it out. Campers have also told scary stories about what they experienced while staying overnight. One group set up their tents near a waterfall and heard voices during the night, even though they were alone. One camper said he woke up to the sound of someone calling his name. When he looked outside the tent, he saw nothing, but the voice kept coming from the trees. He left the forest early the next morning, too scared to stay. Hikers report seeing shadowy figures in the trees or hearing footsteps following them along the path. They turn around and find no one there. A few say their phones and cameras stopped working deep in the forest, even though they were fully charged before entering. One couple said their car lights flickered and their engine died for a few minutes while driving through a forest road near the Otway Lighthouse. When the car finally restarted, they saw a pale face in the rearview mirror, but when they turned around, the back seat was empty. Locals also believe the forest holds spiritual energy. Some Aboriginal stories speak of spirits that guard the land and should not be disturbed. These spirits are not always angry, but they don't like disrespect. People who litter or act loudly have said they feel sick or lost until they leave the forest. Even though Otway Forest is loved for its natural beauty, many believe it has a haunted side. Those who have had strange experiences there describe the feeling of being watched, of hearing voices when no one is around, and of seeing things that disappear when you try to look at them clearly. It may just be a forest to some, but to others, Otway holds something deeper, something unseen that never truly leaves. Story number 7. Mount Cootsa Forest. Queensland. Mount Cootsa Forest is a large and popular area just outside of Brisbane, Queensland. Many people visit during the day to enjoy walking trails, mountain views, and quiet nature. But when the sun goes down, the forest takes on a different feeling. Some locals believe that parts of Mount Cootsa are haunted and that strange things happen there, especially at night. One of the most well-known stories comes from the old military bunkers hidden deep in the forest. These bunkers were used during World War II and are now abandoned. They are covered in graffiti and partly falling apart, but some people still explore them. Visitors have reported hearing footsteps echoing through the empty halls, even when they are alone. Others have said they heard whispers or sudden bangs, as if doors were slamming deep underground. One man who visited the bunkers at night said he felt cold all of a sudden, even though it was a warm evening. He turned around and saw a figure at the end of the hallway, dark still and not moving. When he shined his torch at it, the light passed right through, and the figure disappeared. He left immediately and said he would never go back. There are also stories about ghost sightings near the summit track, a popular walking path. Some people claim to have seen a woman in white walking along the trail, always quiet and slow. When they try to get closer, she fades into the trees. A couple hiking near sunset said they saw her standing on a hill, looking down at them, but when they reached the spot, it was empty. Drivers on the road near Mount Kutha have also shared strange experiences. One man said he was driving home late when a shadow crossed the road in front of his car. He braked hard, thinking it was a person, but there was nothing there. When he got home, he found long scratch marks on the side of his car, even though he hadn't hit anything. Some visitors feel sick or dizzy when walking near certain parts of the forest. Others feel like they're being watched, even though no one is around. People have gotten lost on easy trails, walking in circles as if something was confusing their sense of direction. Park rangers have sometimes found campers who look scared and refuse to say what happened to them during the night. While there are no records of major accidents or deaths, many believe the land itself holds energy from the past. The mix of old war sites, hidden places, and thick bushland seems to create an area where strange things happen. Mount Kutha may look peaceful, but for those who've felt the chills, seen the shadows, or heard the voices, it's a place they never forget. Story number 8. Lurks State Park. Victorial Lurks State Park is a wild and rugged forest area in Victoria, not far from the town of Bacchus Marsh. It's known for its deep gorges, narrow trails, and peaceful bushland. Many hikers and nature lovers visit the park during the day, but locals warn that the forest changes after dark. Over the years, people have shared creepy stories and strange experiences that make some believe the park is haunted. One of the most talked about stories comes from a missing persons case. In the early 1990s, a man went hiking alone in Lurks Gorge and never returned. A search party found his backpack and jacket, but the man was never found. What made it stranger was that the area where the items were found had already been searched the day before. Some believed he had been taken deeper into the forest by something or someone that didn't want him to leave. Hikers have also reported hearing cries for help coming from the gorge, only to find nothing when they search. One group of bush said they followed the sound of a man shouting, thinking someone was hurt. But as they got closer, the voice seemed to move further away, always just out of reach. Eventually the voice stopped and they found themselves completely lost for hours, even though they had a map and GPS. Another strange tale involves a woman who went trail running in the early morning. She said she passed an old man sitting on a rock beside the path. He didn't say anything, just stared at her with a blank expression. On her way back, the same man was sitting in the exact same spot, not having moved at all. She greeted him again, but he didn't respond. Later, when she told a park ranger, he said no one else had entered the park that morning. She was the only one signed in. Campers who spend the night in the forest have shared stories of hearing footsteps around their tents and strange rustling sounds, even when the wind is still. One man woke up in the middle of the night to find deep scratch marks on the outside of his tent. He thought it was an animal, but no tracks were found around the campsite. Some visitors say the forest feels off in certain places. The trees seem too quiet, and animals stay away. People report sudden headaches, dizziness, or the feeling of being watched. Electronics like flashlights and phones sometimes stop working for no reason, only to turn on again once they leave the area. Though there's no clear proof of ghosts in Lurks State Park, the number of strange and unexplained events has given it a dark reputation. For those who believe in spirits, it's easy to imagine the forest holding on to the past, whether it's the rough land, the old stories, or something supernatural. Many say Lurks is not a place to wander alone after the sun goes down. Story number 9. Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park. New South Wales. Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park is a large and beautiful area in New South Wales, just north of Sydney. It has walking tracks, rivers, cliffs, and Aboriginal rock art. Many families and tourists visit the park every year, but some areas of the forest are quiet, lonely, and filled with strange stories. Over time, people have shared tales of ghost sightings, eerie feelings, and even disappearances, making some believe that the park may be haunted. One well-known story is about a man who went missing in the 1980s. He was an experienced hiker who had walked the same trail many times. One day, he told his wife he was going for a short walk and never came back. A huge search was done by police and volunteers, but he was never found. Years later, a couple walking through a remote part of the park found a boot and a torn shirt hidden under a pile of leaves. DNA tests showed it belonged to the missing man. Many wondered how his body had gone unnoticed for so long in an area that had been searched many times since that time. Several hikers have reported hearing someone calling for help deep in the bush. They follow the voice, but it always leads them in circles. One man said he followed the sound for nearly an hour before realizing he had returned to the same spot 3 times. He left the park shaken and confused. Some believe the voice may belong to the missing man's spirit, still calling out. There are also stories from people who have seen strange figures in the forest. One woman said she was walking near the old Aboriginal carvings when she saw a person standing near the rocks. She thought it was a park ranger, but when she got closer, the figure vanished into thin air. She later learned that some people believe the area is watched over by ancient spirits who protect the land. At night, campers have heard strange noises, whispers, footsteps, or music playing faintly from nowhere. A group of teenagers camping in the forest said they heard someone walking around their tent. When they checked, no one was there. In the morning, they found small handprints on the outside of the tent, even though they were sure no children had been nearby. Electronics often act strange in the park too. Phones lose signal in places where they should work. Flashlights sometimes flicker, and photos taken in certain areas come out blurry or show strange light shapes. One man who tried to take a picture of a cave found that every photo had a misty white figure in it, even though the cave was empty. Ku-ring-gai Chase may seem like just a peaceful place for nature walks, but the stories told by visitors suggest something else, whether it's lost spirits, ancient energy, or just people's imagination. The forest holds a mystery that has never been fully explained. Some people enjoy the beauty of the park, while others leave with a story they'll never forget. Story number 10. Wishwood Forest, fictionally associated with Tasmanian legends. Tasmania. Wishwood Forest in Tasmania is not as well known as other places in Australia, but it has become a quiet part of local ghost stories and strange events. The forest is thick with tall trees, cold winds, and mist that rolls in suddenly. Some say the name Wishwood itself feels eerie, and people who have visited speak of strange feelings, cold spots, and things they can't explain. The land where Wishwood Forest now stands is believed to have been home to early settlers in the 1800s. There are still remains of an old cottage deep in the woods. The walls are broken, and vines have taken over, but the fireplace and stone steps are still there. Locals say a woman once lived in that cottage with her husband and 2 children. One winter, the husband went to town for supplies and never returned. Some believe he got lost or was caught in a storm. The woman and her children were left alone and were never seen again. Since then, stories have spread about ghostly sightings in the area. People say they have seen the figure of a woman standing near the ruins of the cottage, holding something in her arms. She does not move or speak. When people get closer, she vanishes into the trees. Some say they've heard the sound of a baby crying from the forest, even when no one else is around. Campers have also reported hearing strange knocking sounds at night, as if someone is tapping on trees in the darkness. One man who stayed overnight near the edge of the forest said he woke up and saw a figure standing far off between the trees. It was tall and unmoving, watching him. He looked away for just a second, and when he looked back, the figure was gone. He packed up and left before sunrise. Some hikers report feeling lost even on marked trails. One woman said she followed the same path she had walked before, but everything looked different. The trees seemed too close together, and the air felt heavy. Her compass didn't work, and her phone had no signal. She eventually found her way out, but said it felt like something didn't want her to leave. There are no big signs or warnings around Wishwood Forest, but locals often say, don't go too deep. They believe the forest remembers pain and sorrow, and that some spirits never left. Even wildlife seems to avoid certain areas. Birds stop singing. The air becomes still. It's as if the forest holds its breath when someone enters, though. It's not a tourist spot. The mystery of Wishwood continues to grow. People who visit sometimes return with strange stories, or choose never to go back at all. Whether haunted by real spirits or just heavy with history, Wishwood Forest remains one of Tasmania's quiet, hidden places full of shadows and secrets.